Hey, what's up, guys? This here is Mr. Matt Sprinkle. He is what are you again? You're like big time youth pastor guy, right?
No, I'm just a student pastor.
Just a student. He's the man. We'll just put it that way. But he's our guest today for the Next Step podcast. So we're talking about In God We Trust. And this was Give, right? I think it was Give. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. So Pastor Clay preached a great message, and we're just going to do a little podcast on it, so that'll be fun. But so how's it going, Matt? You doing good?
Yeah, man, doing well.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, let's get into it, bro.
All right, let's do it.
So what's your favorite part of the message this past weekend?
I think my favorite part of this message is really the application to it. I think it's easy for us to make up excuses for ourselves a lot of times when it comes to giving and tithing and stuff. And it's one of those awkward subjects that's always weird for a preacher to want to preach on or dig into, but it is one of those things that we see in Scripture that's encouraged for us to do. And I really love how Clay pulled it out to help us see, like, hey, when we start really giving, it starts actually helping us get everything else in order too.
Yeah.
And I know for me personally, as I've stepped in and stepped up over the last 3 years, I know that I've been able to kind of get a better handle on my finances.
Yeah.
We've been able to pay off certain debts that we didn't think we would be able to, and all kinds of stuff. So that's the parts that really I think are going to benefit a lot of folks who listen to this sermon, is they really help, and they see how the Bible speaks into your finances.
Right.
As you strive to follow to be like Jesus, everything that He has given you, what are you doing with it?
Right, exactly. Well, how do you think, based off of that, do you think that's how they should apply it to their lives, this message? Do you think they should start, stepping out? If they haven't given anything, would you say, how could they try, do you think?
Yeah. That's where, Clay said step in. Give something. Start somewhere. I read a book one time and it said the best way to start a habit is by doing it.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's like, do something for 7 days, and you start to do it more often. And the same principle kind of applies, as you start giving something, $1 a month, something if you're not giving anything.
Right.
And it kind of helps you see kind of thing too. And I really love Clay pointed out, we read it together on Sunday, but Matthew 16:26, for what will I profit if will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul?
Yeah.
Or what shall a man give in return for his soul?
That really made me want to sing the Toby Mac song, Lose My Soul. I don't want to gain the whole world and lose my soul. You know that?
You did better than Toby.
Oh, thank you. Mandisa?
Come on.
What about her? There you go. That's it.
If you keep reading this, it says, for the Son of Man is going to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will pay each person according to what he has done. Truly I say to you, there are some standing here who will not taste death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom.
That's an eye-opener.
And we looked at where your treasure, or where your treasure is stored up. That's
where part is. That. I know what you're talking about.
No, you got it.
Yeah. Sorry.
But that is where your heart is, And so if you're not giving anything, give something. Give something. And that's what he's saying, step in. Mm-hmm. Stepping up is that 10%. And for some folks that is hard.
Right.
And to just jump there, I would say to give something.
Man, the story that he told me, or told all of us, about that dude who was like a big-time speaker and everything, and then he said the one thing that he struggled with his whole life, he does all this other stuff, but the one thing he struggled with was, giving. Mm-hmm. I was like, whoa, that, he's got all this money, and then he can't give to the church, or, give extra on a tip or something like that, and I'm like, oof, I hope I'm not going to be like that, because... there's all these parables in the Bible too that talk about how hard it is for the rich to get into heaven and stuff, and I'm like, ooh, whoa.
And I love how Clay pointed out, it really pushes into our greed, and our selfishness, and ultimately it really pushes into our pride.
Yeah, big time.
And I think that is what stems from all of our sin. Really, is our pride.
Yeah.
And I read a book by C.J. Mahaney. I believe it was C.J. Mahaney. It was called Humility.
Ooh.
And he defined pride. Pride is trying to achieve the same status of God. So it's like you're basically trying to be God.
Ooh,
and that's what we try to do on our own outside of Christ's work in our lives. That's what we strive for. And so I think that's also why, as Jesus is teaching these different things against greed and all of this, he's really speaking towards humility and selflessness.
Right.
And he's really, every time he speaks, especially to the Pharisees and the religious people,
the
people who you would think would understand, what it means to be selfless.
Right.
He speaks towards their pride.
That's right. Well, dude, I thought that kind of relates it to, so I did like a tweet or an Instagram post the other day on Dave Ramsey, and usually I don't really like Dave Ramsey, but I liked this one. And I don't know. He basically said something in like a tweet or something like that, talking about how, he's worked hard for all his money and stuff like that, but it's really ultimately a gift from God. Like, everything that he's ever been given is a gift from God. Because you got to think, like, God could have chose that you didn't have those opportunities. God could have chose that, like, he didn't give you the parents that, that could get you to the, next level and whatever you're doing. Like, so it's all a gift from God. Like, why don't we just be generous and give some of it back, give a little bit of it back. We don't have to get the whole thing. Like, 10% ain't a lot. So, I mean, let's step up and do it,
Yeah.
So.
It's easy to do what's comfortable.
That's right.
You're
right about that.
Finances is uncomfortable.
It definitely is. Yeah. Hopefully we're not making you guys uncomfortable, but if we are, I hope you take a next step from it.
It's not us. It's
it's
Bible.
Yeah, he says it. Jesus. Well, we kind of answered this, but the third question was like, what can people take away from this as a next step?
Yeah.
So I guess, think about being more generous, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think that, and then I know Clay even encouraged everyone to write down a prayer to pray, and I think that's a start for everyone, really, from this kind of sermon.
Even us.
Yeah, it's praying. Hey, God, am I stewarding what you have given me well?
Yeah.
God, is there a way? Like, if you are stepping up, God, is there a way for me to step out?
Yeah.
In faith, that offering, that more than that 10%, is there a way for me to do that? Right. Okay, God, I hear this message. It's uncomfortable. I don't like it, but I see that I need to step in some way. So, God, how much?
Yeah, exactly.
How much should I give?
He'll tell us.
Give something, and see how he works through that.
Right.
I
know one thing, whenever, so I started giving like a bigger tip at one point. At one point, I was like very against like tipping for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah. Like when I was in high school and stuff like that, I was like, if they don't do good, I don't want to tip. I don't want to give like barely 10%.
Part of it is the pressure of being a young adult.
That
you already don't have money.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, at Yucatan, I probably didn't tip enough all the time. But I started doing it. It was a few years ago. I started giving like a really generous tip, like way over the 10%. And since then, I've just become really great friends. But we go to Baker Sweets all the time. Mm-hmm. People just I come up and talk to them, have all these kind of spiritual conversations with them because of that. And I feel like if I wasn't generous, then those conversations would never happen. They might not be led to Jesus. So I think that just those little things, even of giving, can help. Like, one, it helps me. I have more friends from that. I know that. And it feels good. And then two, it helps them to see who Jesus is. Mm-hmm. So I think that's even little things like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one thing we talked to high school about this past Wednesday night is what it means to really be a Christian, because we live in a culture where Christian is a term that many people go by.
Yeah.
But what does it really mean to be a Christian, kind of thing? And as we dug into it, it's by your actions, your behavior, and your speech.
Yeah.
Right? So it's when you're in the restaurant, with that waiter or waitress and stuff, it is leaving that good tip. It's also, one thing that would encourage you when it comes to tipping, ask them before you even begin your meal, hey, how can I pray for you?
Yeah.
Well, and then you follow up with a proper tip, and they see through your actions and your behavior and your speech, there's something different. That's awesome. We are citizens of a different world.
Right. For sure.
Our citizenship belongs to a different kingdom.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's like, do people see that? Do they see that we are not of this world? Do people see that we are ambassadors, people who speak on behalf of Jesus?
And it's like inviting more people into the kingdom if we do, if we are doing that. More and more people will want to like find out why we're like that. And, hopefully it's a domino effect.
Yeah.
Well, dude, is there anything else you got on this? Because I think we might wrap up if not.
No, I think this is a really simple, straightforward sermon. Even though finances can be something awkward to talk about in the church, God really does speak into that aspect of our life, and I think that is the gospel. The gospel is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
When you really understand who you are, and all that God has done, that He would send His only Son, to die on the cross for people who were rebels against Him, that while we were still sinners, Jesus died for us.
Yeah.
Took on what we deserved. Then everything that we get from Him should be utilized in a way that is thanking Him for what He's done.
That's right. Let's go.
So
hype me up, Matt.
Yeah, man. So I think this is it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, but the gospel is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it pushes us beyond our own comforts.
Hey.
Because we want to see people take next steps.
That's right. That's what this podcast is all about, Matt. The Next Step Podcast. Here we go. Well, thank you, man, for being on.
Absolutely.
You're
Thanks
awesome.
for having me.
Hey, and guys, if you're online watching this, I would love for you guys to show up to youth some Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Talk to this guy or me, either one. We're both like out there on Wednesdays, and we do a lot of fun stuff with the youth and a lot of kids. I mean, it's my favorite day of the week, honestly.
Mine too.
So you guys, come on. I mean, be a youth volunteer.
Come hang out.
Do something.
Let's
go.
Crazy people to come hang out with crazy kids that will eventually be crazy people.
Hey, come on. I mean, your next step might be becoming crazier to be with the youth. Come on, let's do it.
That's right.
Something like that. I don't know. Well, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Shout out to this guy. And send a comment in there. Let us know how you liked it. So appreciate you guys. See you next time.
See you later.